Good morning students, welcome to our e-learning session for the particular subject Business Communication and Management for 3rd SEM BCom second year. In this session we are going to see the different models of communication and one of the important type of communication, that is grapevine communication. Now before starting our session, I would like to just inform you that yesterday there was a message from one of the student of class D and she was having little query about these videos. The thing which she was saying, that she said she is not getting the points or the videos which are uploaded into the YouTube. Now why there is such kind of problem? Because now this is from my point of view, or from our every teacher will say that what you have to do is you have to follow the very first video for each and every subject, not only for my subject. ओके अगर आपको हर सब्जेक्ट में प्रॉब्लम आ रही है तो आपको क्या करना है, कहीं ना कहीं आपको उसका क्या है, कंटिन्यूटी ज्वाइन करनी है. नाउ हाउ यू विल ज्वाइन दैट कंटिन्यूटी? यू विल स्टार्ट योर सेशन राइट फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट वीडियो. जो भी फर्स्ट वीडियो आपके कोई भी सब्जेक्ट का होगा, ओके, इट्स नॉट जस्ट फॉर दिस बिजनेस कम्युनिकेशन, फॉर से फॉर इकोनॉमिक्स और से फॉर एनी अदर सब्जेक्ट. व्हाट यू हैव टू डू? Just follow the first video, then second, third, fourth, so that you will get the proper link. And once you get the link, then you will be able to understand the discussions in the video. What is video? Video is nothing but it is like a classroom teaching. And you all are aware that due to this coronavirus and pandemic, we are not able to take the classroom teaching. As and when we get the information from the universities, college will inform you that such and such date our college will start and our classroom teaching will be resumed. But by the time you have to cope up with this YouTube study, okay? This is one of the chance you are getting to improve such kind. मतलब आप इससे आपको क्या मिल रहा है? You are getting more interacted with the social media also. So YouTube पे जो भी आपके videos हर एक सब्जेक्ट के अपलोड हो रहे हैं, सो अगेन एंड अगेन व्हाट आई विल सजेस्ट यू, follow the first video. In the very first video for each and every subject, introduction is given, detailed syllabus is given and the paper pattern is given. And regarding the paper pattern and syllabus, nothing has been changed. It is same. 8, 8, 16. The pattern is same which you have attempted for the second or first same. Now if the thing is clear for you, now we will come to our this particular chapter. Now models of communication. In this session we are going to cover models of communication and grapevine communication. Now models of communication, these are different models which are discovered by the different authors or different subject experts. Now why there is a need of discovering or developing this model? Because the concept communication should be more easy and clear. People or the person should understand what is communication, and that is why model of communication, in that we will see. And see, this is not exactly the part of your syllabus. This is just the extra information which I am giving you just to make the concept of communication clear. Okay, so first is SMCR. So in this particular model, this is itself called SMCR model, and the second is the Johari window model of communication. In this first model, it is SMCR, and here in this SMCR, S stands for source, M stands for message, C stands for channel, and R stands for receiver. Now in earlier videos we have seen the features of communication, advantages of communication, different types of communication, and every communication starts with the source. Now what is this source? The idea or the information which is sent by the sender to the receiver. Means your communication process starts with the source, and that source itself is the idea to communicate. Okay, then that may be a personal communication, that may be a communication at management level. But now here in this particular model, what is given? Source. The source is the essential requirement of this model, because unless and until there is a source, the communication will not take place. So it starts with source, and next to the source itself means the idea to share, the idea to communicate. Next is message. Here exactly what a sender is sending for the communication. That is what is message. And very next is channel. Channel is a very important factor of this model. Means in the process of communication itself, channel is very important. Now what is this channel? How the information is going to be sent. Means whether that particular communication is taking place by telephone, by email or other kind of channels of communication. That itself is a channel of communication. Means how the information is sent from sender to the receiver. It may be verbal, it may be written, it may be telephonic, it may be via email. That is written communication. So in our earlier sessions, everything is covered in different types of communication. So channel is one of the important part of this model. मतलब information कैसे भेजे जा रही है, किस तरह से चैनल से भेजे जा रही है, कौन से मीडियम से इंफॉर्मेशन को पास ऑन करना पड़ता है. दैट इज व्हाट इज कवर्ड इन चैनल. And then receiver. At the dead end, who is there? Receiver is there. Means the person who is receiving the message. And the very last is feedback, which is not given in this model. But what is the last thing is feedback or reply. Means whatever the sender has sent, okay, that is received by the receiver. Now it is up to the receiver to give the feedback to the sender, unless and until the communication process will not be completed. Okay, now the Johari window model of communication. See, again and again, this is not exactly the part of your syllabus, but just for information and to make the concept of communication clear, we are discussing this model. The second is the Johari window model of communication. Now, who has developed this this particular model? Developed by American psychologist Joseph Luft and Harry Ingham in the year 1955. Developed the Johari window model of communication. They are the originator for this model. Now, what was the idea? What was the aim behind developing this channel? What was the idea? Why they want to prove or why they want to develop this channel, this model? So the main idea behind this model was to increase the self-awareness and personal development of an individual. In the organization, in the business units, there are different employees who are working in that particular management. So management में जो भी individual, that employee, he is or she is an individual, correct है? So self-awareness among them and at the same time personal development. If the business is growing and developing, it means the individual, the employee, the persons or the supervisors, superiors who are engaged or who are part of that management, ultimately, automatically their self-awareness and development happens. And how it happens? This model helps in developing the self-awareness and personal development of the individual. So this is the main idea behind this particular model, and this we have seen Smcr model and Johari window model. Now coming to grapevine communication. The another name of grapevine communication is informal communication also. What is the another name? Informal communication or grapevine communication. Now what is informal communication? When the communication is done, okay, in the process of communication, two persons are necessary, okay, जिसके साथ communicate करना है, and the person who is communicating, communicator and the person who is communicating. Then in this type of communication, informal communication means the idea behind this type of communication is when nothing is certain, means whatever the communication is taking place beyond the rules and regulations or the formalities which are discovered by the organization. So, and how it helps and why there is a need of informal communication to develop the social relationship among the out of the business world. जैसे कि there are employees who are working in X company, okay, after completing their working hours, they are going into the society, they are having discussions with their friends, relatives, etc. okay, and there the person X, he is discussing about the management of the company X where he is working, okay, he is telling them, he is informing them that how good that company is, how they are earning the profit, he is sharing how the company is working for the betterment of the employees. Okay, and this kind of informal communication increases the name, fame and goodwill of the organization. So it is again indirectly a part of communication which helps in achieving the business goals of the organization. So informal communication, grapevine communication is also known as informal communication. When communication between two persons is not based on the formalities mentioned in the management, or again which are not mentioned in the rules and regulations of the company of the management, that kind of information or that kind of communication is informal or grapevine communication. Now this type of communication again has 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. The first is single standard chain, second is gossip chain, third is probability chain, and fourth is cluster chain. Now why this grapevine communication has been divided into different parts? Because when the communication happens, okay, when the communication takes place as per the different ideas or according to the different types, and that is why it is divided into 4 types. First is single standard chain. Here this A is a person, or we can say that he is Mr. A. Okay, now in this particular kind of information is sent from A person to B. B will again pass on that information, that particular message to C. Then that C will again forward the message to D. Okay, and accordingly the communication will take place, and that is why it is called a single standard chain. Means in this particular type, who has given the right to send the message? Only A. Okay, it is not that B will send the information directly to the D. Okay, only A will pass on the information message to B, and then again it is the responsibility of the person B to send or to forward that information to C and D, and accordingly the communication happens in the organization. So single standard chain में क्या होता है? A will pass on the information to B, B will C, C, D, and this process goes on. So this is what is called single standard chain. Now in the second type, gossip chain. You must have heard the word gossip. Gossip करना मतलब क्या? किसी के साथ में when you are even you do everything this in your classes also. ठीक है, gossiping करते हो. टीचर आज क्लास में आई है, okay, who is the teacher, how she is teaching, उसके बारे में आप gossip करते हो ना. So gossip means what? जो भी meaning you know about the gossip, the same is applied here. Okay, gossip chain. Okay, in the gossip there is a person A, only he is going to pass on the information to B, C, D, E. Okay, it is not like in single chain. Single chain में क्या होता है? A says to B, B says to D, B says to C and D and so on. But here only A will pass to B, C, D and E. Okay, only he has a right to send the information to consider concerned person in the organization. So A pass on the information to B, C, D and E. So gossip chain. Again this is chain also. Chain means क्या है? That information should be passed on, and that is why everywhere you will find the word chain. Single standard chain, gossip chain, probability chain, and then cluster chain. Now we are coming to the another type, that is probability chain. Here this probability chain is also known as random process. Okay, it is not necessary that A will pass to B or B only. He may pass the information to directly D. He may pass the information to F, G, H, any one of the person in the organization. But that particular type of communication is compulsory or necessary in this informal communication. क्योंकि communication होना तो जरूरी है. Then how it happens, how it takes place, that is the part of the probability. Means randomly you can pass on the information, or the messages can be sent randomly, and that is why probability chain is also known as random process. What it is known as random process. Now the last is cluster chain. Means cluster chain में क्या होता है? It is very much opposite to the probability chain. Probability chain से एकदम क्या है? Opposite है. It means only selected person will send the information to another person. It is not that कि A will say to anyone. A will say to B only. And again here, in this particular graph, here what we have seen, A is sending the message to B. He is not going directly to F, D, G, E, anyone. So A will pass on the information to B, and again B, it is said that B will pass to E, F, G. Okay, C will pass to H, I, J, and D person will pass to K, L, M. Okay, so selected person will forward the information as per the said process by the organization. It is not right given to any person to forward the information to anyone. The only selected person will pass the information, will send the information as per the said communication. So A will say to B and B will again to these three. Then again A will pass to C and C will again pass on to this, and A will pass to D and D will pass on to these persons. Means selected person only can pass the information or can send the information in cluster chain. Okay, this is one of the important topic from exam point of view also. ये हमेशा क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है कि ग्रेपवाइन कम्युनिकेशन क्या है? It is also known as informal communication. Informal communication, that is grapevine communication, is again divided into how many parts? 4 parts. ये हो गया first. Okay, single standard chain. Second is gossip chain. Okay, third is probability chain. Probability chain is also known as random process, and fourth is cluster chain, which is known as selected persons. Means only selected person can forward the message, can proceed the information to the said person as per the rules and regulations mentioned by the organization. So informal grapevine means informal communication. Acha, informal communication, this point we have also covered in different types of communication. Okay, communication based on 3 types we have seen. तो उसमें one was communication based on process में हमने देखा था क्या है, it is formal or informal communication, and that informal communication is same, which is grapevine communication. When the information or when the communication between 2 persons beyond the formalities of the management, and हमेशा the one thing you have to remember that informal communication always takes place between the similar persons who are working on that particular level. Means managerial level में भी एक manager होता है who is a senior manager or a junior manager. Okay, and again the person next to them junior manager or senior managers. Means informal communication takes place at that particular level only. Okay, they people are discussing such topics, they are having conversation between them. मतलब एक लेवल में जो भी persons involved है वही लोग इनफॉर्मल कम्युनिकेशन को क्या है अडॉप्ट करते हैं या फिर इनफॉर्मल कम्युनिकेशन को प्रोसीड करते हैं. एंड इन दैट ओनली सो ग्रेपवाइन कम्युनिकेशन इज अगेन डिवाइडेड इनटू 4 पार्ट्स. ओके, सिंगल स्टैंडर्ड चेन, गॉसिप चेन, प्रोबेबिलिटी चेन एंड क्लस्टर चेन. सो आई होप दैट दिस सेशन is okay for you, and still if you have any difficulty you can send your message or you can inform in the Google Classroom also, or you can send the email so that your queries, your difficulties should be solved. So this is all for our today's lecture. Thank you.